Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Today I'm going to review the Nomos Tetra Neomatik. This is a limited edition version called the Tetra Neomatik 175 Years of Watchmaking in Glashütte, which is the city that Nomos was founded. So the brand isn't 175 years old, but there has been watchmaking going on in the region, and the headquarters is right across the street from famous brands like Alungunzona and Glashütte Original. This is the watch. This is the black version. I'm wearing the red version. There's two other versions. There's also a blue and an off-white. They're all very, very pretty. There are also some non-limited edition versions of the Tetra Neomatik now, and they're actually a little bit more expensive. So these are actually a little bit of a deal, even though they're limited edition. For many, many years, Nomos had the Tetra as their square watch, but it contained an in-house made manually wound movement. Now, it contains the DUW 3001, which is their in-house made automatic movement. And for me and a lot of other people, that has changed the game. Now, before we talk about the movement, let's just talk about the Tetra overall. It's a 33 millimeter wide square. And it's a bit on the small side given a lot of modern proportions, but as you can see, it looks larger because it's a square and not a round shape, and if you're wearing sleeves or something formal, it looks really good. I'd love to see Nomos make one that's maybe about 2 millimeters wider, but I actually think this is quite a good size and it's been very comfortable on the wrist. One of the most amazing things for me is how thin it is. It's 7.3 millimeters thick. That's not what you would call ultra thin, but for practical purposes, that's quite thin. You can wear it easily under the sleeve, and on the wrist, it's going to look like a very thin watch. So having that thinness with an automatic movement, for me, is a big plus. The dial is a Bauhaus look, which is something which Nomos has been having in their collection for a number of years, and I particularly like it in the square dial versus the round dial. Very elegant hands, which actually work well because even though they're polished steel, they're legible because they're not too reflective, and then you have this nice elegant Bauhaus dial design that is very distinctive. The different dials have little differences to them in terms of the colors, but for the most part they maintain a red subsidiary hand. They're not all red, with the subsidiary seconds, and just sort of an elegant, clean, dateless look. The movement operates at 4 Hertz with about 2 days of power reserve, and even though it's not cost chronometer certified, Nomos says that it's regulated within chronometer standards, and I believe them. They make pretty good movements. The Germans tend to do that very, very well. At 30 meters of water resistance, that's not a huge amount, but it's more difficult to get water resistance with a square watch for a variety of purposes. Over the dial is a sapphire crystal, and again, I'm just really impressed with this. Here's the blue version of the watch, and I want to speak for a second about the straps, which are the same on each of the limited edition versions. These are Horween shell cordovan leather straps. These are American made, and Horween is known for doing things like making footballs. This leather is very tough, and it's also very nice looking, and the reason it's shiny is because I believe it's blasted by small glass beads to get that interesting look. It has some distinctive markings on the inside from the large sheets of leather that they cut, so each of them has a slightly distinctive look on the inside, and it's very cool to use that Horween shell cordovan. It's popular. Nomos isn't the only one to do it, and it's a particularly good look. And I think it's interesting that despite the 4 different dial colors, the brown strap looks good on all of them. Nomos actually offers a few other strap options and even a metal bracelet, interestingly enough, for the Tetra that has sort of large horizontal links, like one link that's just one long horizontal link that goes on there, which is an interesting look. I haven't seen it on the bracelet, but that's interesting, like I said, that's available. Each of these is limited to 175 pieces, and we have the blue one here, the red one that I'm wearing here. We also have the black version, and what Nomos calls the off-white, which is quite lovely. And it's actually good to know because there is one that's a little bit more of a silver dial, which is part of the standard Tetra Neomatik collection. So it's good to know that this is the limited edition version. So that's it. That's the Nomos Tetra Neomatik, the first version of the Tetra with the in-house made automatic movement. I think it's fantastic. These 4 versions celebrate 175 years of watchmaking in the city of Glashütte. Price for these is $3,860, and you can see more on aBlogtoWatch. Thanks.